welcome to another episode on Paving the Way podcast. I'm Seth Amoa, aka SA. I'm here with Kenny Jean-Louis, also as KJL. Today we're here with a big-time former basketball player. He's a head coach. There's a lot more I want to say, but we'll get into it in the interview. Please give it up for Wayne Yearwood.
Merci. Merci d'avoir accepté l'invitation directement. Moi, puis c'est d'autant envoyé l'invitation puis t'as accepté. Puis donc, merci. Il y a beaucoup de personnes qui vont apprendre de l'interview, que ça soit joueur ou que ça soit coach. So, merci encore. So, the first question that we always ask everyone, when's the passion for basketball started for you?
When did it start?
Yeah.
It started when I was really young, probably about 5 years old.
Oh.
The bug hit me really early in life, I happened to have a chance to see the Harlem Globetrotters play. I was 5 years old. And that's it. It bit me right there.
Yeah.
It bit me right there. So I have stories that I wrote when I was like 5 and 6 years old about basketball and wanted to be a basketball player, and it consumed me from then.
Did you always, I guess, around that age were you like, you know what? Did you start training as soon as you wanted to play basketball, or is it like something that it was just like, okay, I just do for fun?
No, it was always for fun.
Mm-hmm.
I always played the game for fun, but it was something that I saw and something that I wanted to try. I was athletically inclined as a kid, from a very early age. I played soccer, baseball, football. I did everything. But basketball is something that it really took me. It got me, at a very early age. So I always played. I remember playing at a very young age. But back then, I couldn't just go to the gym and play. It wasn't as open to play the game as it is now, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't always easy. The game, it came when I was in school. I went to the gym every chance I got. I grabbed whatever ball was available, a volleyball, a soccer ball, you know what I mean? If I didn't have a basketball, and I shot hoops,
Yeah.
So it progressed from there,
Okay.
And when was your first real team? Like, was it in?
Oh man. Wow. It had to be in school, playing in school. Probably by grade 5. By grade 6, I was already playing in school. With a school team. So I started playing in tournaments, school tournaments. It seemed like there was a lot of tournaments back then, so I was able to play in school tournaments, right? So I did that, and that's where, I started to play a lot. And I realized, okay, I could play in school teams, then I got into city teams, and I was playing school team and then city teams after school teams. And then that's when things started to roll,
Okay.
I was playing all the time after that.
Were you good right off the bat, or?
Yeah, I was pretty good off the bat. I had games where I just dropped 25 in the first half, and the coach wouldn't let me play the whole second half. He didn't want me to embarrass the other team. So it was pretty good. I dropped buckets very early, because I was tall. I was always the tallest one, but I was athletic. So putting the ball in the basket and finding ways to do it came real naturally to me.
Uh-huh. I know you played for Dawson, but was there any other schools recruiting you? I'm pretty sure.
Back then?
Yeah.
Back then, I when I was in grade 6, I know Olga Rickack, who was a Dawson legend now, but she coached at Champlain back then. And I was living on the South Shore, at the time, in Brossard. And she asked me to come to her practices in CJEP. I was in the 6th grade.
Wow.
So she was already grooming me to come and play for Champlain. And then I moved back to the city, and then I just went to Dawson. Like, it was a no-brainer. You know what I mean? I live right down the street from Dawson, and so I went to Dawson.
Okay.
And how was your time there?
At Dawson? Yeah. It was great. You know what I mean? You know, I was fortunate enough at Dawson to have some really good coaches. My first coach at Dawson was Andy Mezzi. And Andy Mezzi, you know, he just passed away about 3 weeks ago. And that really touched me a lot, because he was very important to me as far as my basketball career and growing up and playing the game at that age, you know, CJEP age, and having an opportunity to have a coach like him who was experienced in sport. Junior championship soccer team. He was from Hungary, but he had a great knowledge for team sports and introduced me to concepts and understanding of the game that I still hold today as some of my philosophies as coaching. And so I was very lucky to have him as a coach and play with a lot of good players. We had great teams at that time at Dawson, and went to the national championships, provincial championships. You know, like we had a team.
I know you played alongside Dwight Walton and Trevor Williams, I believe.
Yeah. Trevor was my guy. Dwight came a little bit after me.
Okay.
I was gone when Dwight came, but I played with Trevor. Trevor and I, you know, we went to high school together. We live on the same street at the time, you know, and we played at Dawson together. You know, we were like a 1-2 punch. You know, he was a point guard, I was a forward, and we did our thing. We won a national championship, and my second year at Dawson. So,
how was that winning nationals? Yeah,
it was great. You know, like I said, I always played the game for fun. I played for fun. Yes, I played to win, but I played because I enjoyed to play, and to have an opportunity to play with my high school friend, my boy, close friend, and you know, and the fact most of their team was built with guys that we all grew up together. So to have a chance to play together, you know, and have so much fun and be successful at it, and that was great. It was great.
I know you said you were good right off the bat, but what were you doing every summer, every year to also get better?
Well, in my very early years playing, like I said, I played every sport. So, you know, depending on the season, like it was hard to get a game of basketball all the time. But I played baseball, I played soccer, I played football, I skated in the winter. You know, I did a little bit of everything. And I ran track. I was a provincial triple jump champion when I was young. So I did everything. So all of that training in different sports helped me for basketball. You know, I remember having a soccer ball and going to my basement and dribbling the soccer ball, working on my ball handling in the basement. You know what I mean? Because I knew I couldn't do it upstairs. My mother would like be screaming at me. So I went down in the basement and dribbled a soccer ball, you know, and I ran all the time. So I was always in good shape. When I was old enough to start getting to games, and I found outdoor courts, I found guys that I was in school with that would bring me to the outdoor courts. And I had outdoor courts when I moved back to Montreal. We had an outdoor court right down the street from us. So we played there. We had another one 2 blocks away from us. I played there, and we played till the lights, from early in the morning till late at night. You know, literally, police would drive on the basketball court and cut the lights out. You know, so you know it was like that in the day. You know what I mean?
Speaking of, we're talking about nationals, and I just thought about it. So you won nationals playing for Dawson, but I know you also won nationals as a head coach.
Yep, 2007. Won the nationals.
Yeah. So I just want to know, which feeling is better, winning as a coach or as a player?
Oh man, that's a good question. I can't tell you the difference. I just know as a player, you put your blood, sweat, and tears on the court, and you're playing, right? So it's you're immersed in it. As a coach, the satisfaction I got was being able to put a group of guys together and having them play as one unit and be successful there. So that was more proud of what they became, proud of where they went and how they blossomed into a team. So as a coach, I had that feeling as a proud father. You know what I mean? as a player, you're in the trenches. You know what I mean? You're battling. You're battling. It's a lot. It's a little bit of a different feeling, obviously, but both feelings are nonetheless, really nice, really good. Okay. It's funny. I always tell people when we won the national championships, I did very little coaching. So that let me know that my team was prepared because I didn't have to do too much. We ran our practices, we did our shoot-arounds. When it came to the game, I was so stress-free and easygoing, like the guys just knew what they had to do. Yeah. So I was pleased that we came to that level where they can just go and do it. Yes, I had the game plan. Yes, I knew what we had to do, and I put it out there, and they just did it. I just sat and relaxed, let them do their thing. So it was really it was a great experience.
Okay. Nice. And when you were playing at Dawson, when the recruiting process started for you, like your first
It started early. I remember going to a basketball camp, 5-star basketball camp in the States, and a lot of coaches seeing me up there and or down there, and the recruiting started fast and furious, real quickly. Again, I was oblivious to the process, and I wasn't aware that basketball could take me to a place like that. Free education, travel. I didn't know. I love to play, and that's what I focused on, playing and getting better in the summer and working on my game. And when I realized that, what are you telling me? I can go to school for free? On scholarship? What are you telling me? Really, the process went by me. I didn't know, I was just focused on the game.
Yeah.
And so when I started getting the calls, I started getting the letters, it started to become overwhelming. I go to games and I got 7 coaches waiting to talk to me after the game. And, coaches showing up at my door, like wanted to speak to me and wanted to fly me here, or sending me tickets for this, and wanted to send me a little bit of cash. And it was crazy. I was fortunate because I was heavily recruited coming out of Montreal at a time where it wasn't the norm. It wasn't the norm. So I had NBA players calling me and trying to get me to their schools, and it was fun and turbulent time. Fun and turbulent time.
So so going through all that, I know you went to West Virginia. What made you decide to go there?
Well, it's funny. It's a funny story, but I originally wanted to go to St. John's.
Okay.
That's where I wanted to go, out of New York. And they had sent me some stuff. They were calling me. They were recruiting me, but I knew they were waiting for another player. I had the foresight and the understanding that, yes, they wanted me, but I wasn't their first choice. Their first choice was Walter Berry. And Walter Berry was in JUCO at the time, and he was JUCO Player of the Year. When he went to St. John's, he was NCAA Player of the Year. He went to the NBA. He was like number 2 or 3 or number 1 draft pick. So he was a baller, and I knew that. And he's from New York, so I had to make an about face. I had to make a turn. So West Virginia was very interested. I went for a visit there. They flew a plane. They sent a private plane to pick me up. The plane had problems, had to turn around. So I had to pay for my own flight. They reimbursed me. It was a whole mix up. That should have told me something then, but I was comfortable with West Virginia. I went there, visited with a bunch of other schools, but I visited there, and I like what I saw. They were ahead of the game. They were always top 32, top 30 school. Their competition was top notch, one of the better schedules in the country. 15,000 seat stadium, good academics, big university. Like, I was like, okay, I can handle this. Not too far from Toronto, where I had family. I can drive there. It worked for me. It worked.
Okay.
Well, was it a hard adjustment to go from CJEP to, I guess, D1 in a big time school like that?
No, and I always say that the adjustment, Montreal prepared me for a lot. I grew up downtown Montreal. I grew up in the city. I grew up in an international flair. I wasn't, different cultures. You know what I mean? And we have that natural cultural mix living in Montreal. So I was able to adjust pretty quickly. Yeah, there were some things I had to learn, obviously, but as far as the basketball goes, basketball is basketball. You know what I mean? And I picked up that real quickly, and I understood what my place was as far as a ball player there, you know. And I just followed the routine that was set in front of me, which I always try to tell my players now: follow the routine the program sets for you. You get up, you go to your classes, you go to your study hall, you go to practice, you eat, do your homework, boom, shut it down, don't party too hard, and get ready to do it again the next day. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I followed that, you know, and I focused on my sport, and I focused on my academics. And I actually became a better student, with a better ability to study when I got to university, because I was focused. I had a plan. I had discipline, more discipline, you know? So.
And I didn't know this about you, but you played football.
Yes.
In West Virginia. And I'm sure a lot of people don't know, but yeah, so you played football and basketball at West Virginia. And you were, I guess, a wide receiver?
Yeah, split end.
Yeah, so how did you do both? And when they're both like full time, yeah.
Well, when I went to West Virginia, I only had 3 years of eligibility to play. Back then, they didn't know what CJEP was all about, so they took a year away from me like quickly. So I only had 3 years of eligibility to play basketball, which is a funny rule. Like now, it's not like that. The ruling has changed completely for CJEP. But so I played 3 years of basketball, and I had another year left. So I had 1 year left to finish my degree. So I was playing football. In fact, I was working out in the football stadium. That's where I used to work out in the summers. I do all my basketball training in the summer at the football stadium with the football strength coach. I did plyometric training, weightlifting. I did all my training there in the summer. So I was working out one summer, and the head coach came to the weight room and was watching me. And he said, you know, like, I see you on the basketball court, but you're in here all the time training. Like, you know, why don't you come up for the football team? And I said, sure, I'll come. No problem. And I had played football before, and I was a receiver. I was a tight end. So I went out to a couple of practices, and he watched me catch the ball, and he called me in his office, said, look, I want to offer you a scholarship.
Wow.
And I was like, sure. I was finishing up my year, no problem. I didn't know it would lead to me, you know, going to the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas, you know, playing against Oklahoma and Barry Sanders, and seeing all that, and then, you know, getting drafted in the Calgary, and working out for Dallas and Minnesota Vikings, and, you know, being invited to Dallas wanted me to come to their camp really bad. And I was like, I turned it down. Like I ended up going to Greece instead. You know, even Calgary sent me 2-year contract to play for Calgary, the Stampeders. And, you know, I ended up going to Greece instead.
Wow.
You know, and playing pro basketball in Greece.
Were you surprised? Were you surprised that after only 1 year, all those football teams wanted you?
I was surprised, but yet, like, I understood the football culture. I am a 6'7" athlete who ran like a 4.56 40, who could catch the ball, run routes. I was agile enough to run routes. They were like, okay, grab him. Like I understood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually, going to West Virginia, I wanted to play baseball and basketball. I wasn't thinking about playing football. I wanted to play baseball, but, you know, the basketball coach was like, no, sorry, you're not playing baseball too. So,
oh man.
But I ended up playing football, and it was a great experience for me. Football really helped me with basketball, with the training and the speed work and the running, the lifting. It really helped me as far as basketball is concerned.
Mm-hmm. So and also after West Virginia, what were your plans thinking? Okay, did you know you wanted to play pro, or is this something that you were like, you know what, I'll try go to the NBA first, or what would you do after West Virginia?
Well, right after school, I had already, during school, my senior year, I had already tried out for the national team to play in the Olympics.
Yeah.
So I was already on the team, I had to leave school, go for like a week, and then come back and finish school. Yeah. So I had already put that in place.
Okay.
So I knew I was going to do that. I was hoping to get drafted. I know some teams sent me some stuff, Boston, and I think Seattle sent me some stuff. I led my team in scoring. I was versatile. I played in the backcourt my senior year, started in the backcourt, but I was a very good defender. I had some size. I wasn't scoring 20 points a game, 17. At one point, I was leading our league in scoring. That was early in the year, averaging about 18 points a game. If I still averaged 18, I would have probably been drafted, but I ended up averaging just under 14, like 13-5 or just under 14 a game, which was leading on my team. But we had a unique team where we had a lot of guys averaging 10 points, 11 points. And I just happened to be led the team in scoring, but it wasn't a high amount of points. So like I wasn't free agency, although I later on, I got some free agent looks. Like I think I was with the Raptors their first year. The Knicks really wanted me to come to camp, but those are opportunities that were just to come to camp. They already had their roster of 15 with the Raptors in '96 because it's an expansion team. You come in with 15. You have to come in with 15 guys. So Isaiah saw me play. He said, "Come, you're good enough to make the team. Unfortunately, we can't take you, but, maybe you can go to Europe or whatever, So that was 96. I went to camp. But going back towards graduation in 88, like I didn't get drafted. Boston sent me some stuff, but I had already put my eggs in playing with the national team and going to the Olympics. So we had qualified that summer in Uruguay to go to the Olympics for 1988 in Seoul, Korea. And I spent my whole summer traveling and training the whole summer, literally all over the world. And, in September, we were in the Olympics in Seoul, Korea.
Yeah.
So
how was that? I know that you play for Team Quebec and you also play for the national team. How was it representing, I guess, the province and or the national team, especially? How was that for you?
It was great. And, it's a proud moment. Like, we were fortunate on the national team at that time. We had myself and Dwight were from Quebec, and we played on the national team together. And we played in the Olympics together. So that was a proud moment for us representing Quebec, because at that time, I don't think we didn't get a lot of love from other parts of the country, as far as basketball was concerned. So for us to be able to represent our province and then to go on to represent the country in international competition, Pan Am Games, World University Games, World Championships, it's a proud moment for us coming out of Quebec, coming out of where I came from, It was a proud moment for us. And we always look back on that fondly as representing Quebec. Hello?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that. I got a long distance call, but so representing our province first, and then representing our country. Like it's obviously a very proud moment. It's a very proud moment. I got a chance to meet a lot of people in Montreal, in the city. The mayor at the time, Mayor Doré. I took pictures with him. We had and to this day, I get a lot of stuff in the mail, emails from the Olympic Association. So they still actively keep me involved. I'm still up on the news as far as the Olympics are concerned, and our programs are concerned. And it's a proud moment for me. And I always look back on that being one of the highlights of my in the Olympics and just being associated with that.
I know that in '88, the NBA player were not playing in the Olympic yet.
No, you're right.
But did you play the USC team?
Yeah, we played the U.S. team. They were coached by John Thompson. On that team, there were no NBA players, but on that team was Danny Manning, Dan Marley, Mitch Richmond, Jeff Grayer, Charles Smith.
David Robinson.
Pardon me?
David Robinson.
David Robinson. Yes. Like it was all first round NBA team, first round picks, all of them, the whole team. And we played them. We lost that game by 4 points.
4 points.
So, Stacey Ogman, like the J.R. Reed, like it's all first round picks. So it was good. It was good. It was good.
And I know also did you play against Vladi Divac? I know he was.
Yeah, we played Yugoslavia, who I think beat us by about 25 or so. I'm not quite sure. I don't quite remember, but I know they beat us pretty bad. They had Vladi Divac, Tony Kukoc, Drazen Petrovic. They had an all NBA squad. Their starting lineup, the smallest guy was 6'6". That was Petrovic, and they had 6'10", 6'9", 7 foot, 7'4". Like they were a squad, and they didn't even win the Olympics that year. It was the Soviet Union.
Jeez.
The Soviet Union with Sabonis, Marciulionis, all those guys,
Man.
So that was the last year of amateur for basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But all those guys are, every name that I mentioned are all proven NBA players. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
so,
also you got a chance to play with Steve Nash, I believe.
Yes, I played with Steve on a national team, or Steve played with me. He was a young buck on the squad, but I had a chance to play with Steve. Good guy, good player, focused on the game, positive, gentleman, good guy.
Did you know then he would become the player he became?
Yeah, I watching him playing with him. Like I knew he had some special talent. You know what I mean? I knew he had some special talent, and I thought that I think this guy has a chance to go to the league. He's good enough. He's good enough. He does things differently. He does things at a level that I haven't seen too often as far as point guards go. Of course, I didn't expect him to be a 2-time MVP and have the career he had. But I thought he had a chance. To make it to the league.
Yeah. Quick question? What do you think about the evolution of Quebec basketball? Because, like you said before, it was you, Dwight, but now there's a lot of people that's going to the NBA or NCAA. So, what you think of the evolution? And
What? Say that again.
What you think of the evolution of the Quebec basketball?
Wow, it's like, it's incredible. Like basketball in the whole in our country is gone. It's really taken off, obviously. Yeah. With how things are in Quebec, it's great to see that guys are getting an opportunity to go directly to the league from here, and they're getting those opportunities. Like I look at Chris Boucher in Toronto, who signed a longer term deal in Toronto. I look at Kareem Maine most recently, who got some minutes the other day with Orlando.
Yeah.
And what's his name? How could I forget his name?
Lugens.
Yeah. Lugens, for me, like Lugens, Lugens is, to me, was people, somebody was asking me the other day about Lugens, and I said, look, he's got the most talent of anybody, maybe coming out of Canada, period. And he showed it very early in his playing career. Yeah. Playing in all-star games at a high school and stuff like that. And he was always a dominant player, and he made it by being an exceptional defender. Yeah. And you saw that last year when they put him to cover Harden. And not only did he cover Harden, he dropped 30 in the game. So the guy is supremely talented, and he gets after it. He gets after it, all the time. He puts it on the floor all the time, 100%. And that's hard to teach. And that's a passion that he has and an understanding that he has. And he's going to be in the league, I predict, for a long time.
Mm-hmm. True. So after, I believe, your basketball career, I would say, what led you to coaching? Why did you decide to coach?
Well, I kind of fell into it. I did some coaching when I was playing ball in Europe, some player coaching, like, helping the coach out, running practices and stuff like that. So I had already dabbled in coaching, and it's a little different coaching while you're playing, it's a little different. But when I came back to Montreal, I I looked into, I remember going to see some Dawson practices, and I was working out. My boy Trevor was coaching at the time, and I went to see him a few times. And John Davidson, who was the athletic director at Dawson, saw me, pulled me over, talked to me, and asked me if I wanted to coach. So he'd like me to coach. And I said, I'll support the AA team, and, no problem. So I coached the AA team, and the following year, I was the head coach of the years after that. I think a year after that, Olga moved on to UCAM, and the AAA team was open, and they asked me to take the job, and I was like, sure. And I've been there ever since. So I kind of fell into it,
Yeah.
And it's I always say, like, I coach from a player's perspective after playing for so long and then being immersed into coaching. I was big on film and big on allowing the players to play in their strength and making sure that they're successful in what they can do and not putting them in situations where they're going to fail. You got to challenge guys, but you also got to make the system set so that guys can be successful, right? And sometimes as coaches, we hang on to the system that we want, and the system doesn't work for the players. So I try to adjust my system to suit the players that I have, and hopefully I've been doing that. Hopefully I'm able to continue to do that, and I still love coaching. It's getting a little crazy with this recruiting business and all that, but I still love the coaching.
Before that, before I ask you another question, your professional career, how was it challenging? Like moving, like going to a different country, or like a lot of people think playing overseas is easy, or it's all good. How was it?
I enjoy. First of all, it's a great experience playing for different places, playing under different cultures was great. My first year overseas, I went to Greece. And, I've never been to Greece before. I didn't know Greek language at all. And I went to a part of Greece where they really didn't speak a lot of English, hardly any. So, and my coach is Yugoslavian, who didn't speak very good English and spoke even worse Greek. So it was like, but we practice. When you get in the gym is the gym. The ball is the ball. The game is the game. It's any language. It's all the same. So I was fortunate enough to get with a coach like that, and that made things a lot easier. Again, when I went overseas, to me, I was getting paid. That's pro ball, and I always tell guys, you're playing basketball now, but you won't really start to play and understand until you're playing for the dollar in your pocket. When you start playing for $1 in your pocket, you need to change how you approach things. And I approach things as a professional. I got up in the morning. I went to the gym for 2 hours to shoot, handle the ball. I left the gym, went to the weight room, ate my lunch, took a rest, and then got prepared for my evening practice. And that was my schedule. And that's what I did every single day. So it made, again, it's planning your time, time management. It's disciplining yourself and attending to the task at hand. And the task at hand for me was I can be when I step on that floor, and not allowing anybody to take anything away from me. Not allowing myself to get hurt, because you get hurt, you're on the plane back home. Earning my bonuses when I needed to and doing what I had to do. Like I led 3 or 4 leagues in scoring. I was MVP in 2 or 3 leagues. Like I did my thing when I played overseas. I had a great time. I played in Greece, Germany, Switzerland, France. I played all over the place. So it was a great experience for me.
Which country would you say was the best?
The best as far as leagues?
No, your experience, just your personal experience. So it can be, I guess, basketball and outside of basketball.
I can't. The first place I went to was Greece. So it's I have fondness in my heart for there because it's the first place I went to. It was a great experience. The people were great. Culture was great. But playing in Germany was great too. Playing in Switzerland was great too. I Cyprus too. I can't tell you which one was better. I just knew I had good experiences in all those places, positive experiences, good basketball. Greece was very good basketball, but the other place was good basketball as well. And, you know, I didn't fight. I didn't fight the culture. I accepted it. I live with it. I'm living in somebody else's home. I have to adjust myself, right? And that's the true thing that you have to do to keep yourself comfortable in another place, in another land. That you have to stay there for a while. You got to adjust yourself. You got to understand, you know, this is not my home. I got to conduct myself a certain way. I can't insult people. I got to be, you know, be yourself, but at the same time, understand that you're not at home. You know, protect yourself, keep yourself, you know, try to stay around good people, positive people. You learn a lot about yourself when you go someplace and you have to live there alone. So I learned a lot about myself, but I like being alone. It's not a bad thing. If you can't be happy with yourself, you know, you can't be happy with nobody else.
That's true. You know, coaching at Dawson, a lot of great players have come through there.
Oh yeah.
How were you able to recruit all these great talent that you had on your team?
Oh, look, I just, you know, I know what I like. I know what I liked as a player, and I know what I like as a coach. And I know the style of basketball that I like to coach. I like to put my players in. And I look for guys who love to play. I look for guys who obviously had some talent for the game, a love for the game, first of all. And I think that's we lose a little bit of that now. Guys don't like to play and they like the accolades and they're playing to go get a scholarship. But do you love to play? Like, you know, do you love to play? And I try to recruit guys that love to play. I try to get guys that want to come to Dawson. You know, and I was telling somebody yesterday, yeah, this recruiting is something else. But, you know, if I have to convince you to come and play at Dawson or play for me, if I have to go out of my way to convince you, really convince you, then what am I doing here? Maybe you really don't want to come here. You know, some guys just like to be convinced. And I get that. You know, all I can do is give you, you know, the positives about my program, positives about what we do. I'm honest. I don't stretch the truth. I don't beat around the bush. I like to be very direct with kids when I speak to them. I'm there to help. I'm an adult. I'm there to help you. If you're not coming to me, hey, if you still need some help, you know, you can give me a call. And I'll try to help you or help to guide you in the right direction wherever you go. I don't leave the relationship off, cut it off like that as recruiting. You're not coming here, so I'm done. Hey, like, you know, listen, if you need some help, let me know. I have no problem with that. Even if you're playing for somebody else, it's not a big deal for me. I'm there to support kids. So finding a kid that wants to come to Dawson and has the talent and the desire and is willing to work and, you know, I don't like to sit guys either, so that helps too. I like guys to play. You'll make your mistakes, but you're going to make your mistakes on the floor, not on the bench. So I'm going to put you into the mix real early and see what you can handle, help you to handle it better the next time. So there's a lot that goes into picking guys, you know. If I've been lucky, I've had some good players playing.
And as an outsider, because I went to Champlain, there was always a big rivalry, Dawson and Vanier. So when did it started?
I don't know. I don't know. I know when I played, Vanier was a rival to us. You know what I mean? They had some good teams back then when I was playing, and you know, we were dominant. You know, we were back then. We didn't take a backseat to nobody. You know, and we're on the way to going back there. I guess it's still a thing. Like, you know, Friday night, it's a Vanier Dawson game. You know, it's going to be packed no matter what. You know. So.
I remember also when I was playing in 2011. I believe that year you won Coach of the Year.
It's possible.
Yeah,
I think I got a couple of those. I don't remember. I don't remember.
A couple of those. Yeah. So that's pretty big. So winning Coach of the Year, and I guess when you win Coach of the Year, you're also nominated for CCAA Coach of the Year. Do you ever look back? Is that something that you're going for, or is it just something that just happens? You know.
For me, it's something that just happens. Like I never. It's not like playing when you actively go out like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and we'll see where it lies. But I should be in that kind of position. But as a coach, I'm just coaching. I don't worry. I don't really worry about awards or accolades as a coach. I want my players to know that I've done the best job I can do with them, and I worked with them the best I could. And that's all that matters to me, really, how my players feel about what I'm doing with them. I really don't worry about awards as a coach or accolades or anything like that. If it comes, great. If it doesn't, that's great too. It's not something I'm looking for. I immerse myself with my team, and I try to, as I get older, I work really hard to try not to let certain things interfere with what I know has to be done. Like that to me, trying to go out and get an award as a coach, like, I've done enough in my life. I don't think my ego needs to be fed in that way. I just want my guys to know that I've done, if they're happy with what I'm doing, my players, then I'm more than ecstatic about what's taking place. You know what I mean? I really am. It's really.
Okay. That's my last question before we start the game. Can you name me, you don't have to answer, but can you name me maybe one or two players that give you nightmare prepare for, like as a coach?
It's funny. I that's a hard question because I prepare as a team. We're very team oriented. So like, every team has a guy that, you got to watch out for, but we try to do it as a team and be mindful as a team that, okay, we don't want to give this guy that spot from the corner where he's very effective shooting the three. So as a team, be mindful of that. If a guy gets picked off on the screen, be mindful when you're giving help. You might have to stay with him if he's heading to the corner because that's his spot. Don't allow penetration because this guy's a penetrator. So make sure help side, we're ready to step in, force him away from the lane. So it's always a team thing. I put certain guys on certain players because of their ability on defense, but it's a team defensive scheme. So I don't look at certain guys to like, okay, we got to stop him or else, because I find when you do that at this level, it takes away from your whole team defense. And teams are good enough now where they have more than one guy who can put the ball in the basket or can hurt you, covering a man and a half, you're a man and half of your teammates man. So, it's always help each other. So I don't worry too much about individual players. It's more of a team concept.
During this whole pandemic, how are you recruiting players for next year,
It's funny you say that. Like I went to watch a kid work out yesterday. A couple of kids work out yesterday, and I was just sitting on the side and just looking and not saying too much. And I've been out of town for a while, so I just got back last Saturday. So it's knowing what's out there, knowing the players. Like my assistant coaches are good at knowing who's out there and knowing what our needs are. Look, guys, this is what we need. You guys need to go and find. So once they've targeted a player, I'm like, okay, I need to see film. I need to look at this kid. And then I'll try to do some Zoom meetings and stuff like that and talk with my coaches, meet with them if possible. But then I start to evaluate players and evaluate how they'll fit into what we do, how they'll fit into their skill set. And does it look like they can improve on certain things? And what level are they at in that particular skill set? And that's it. That's what I've been doing, So far it's been working pretty well. We've signed a couple of guys, and I think we have some more secret signings coming this week. We've done pretty good the last little while, and hopefully it continues. I don't think we're going to play any ball this year. Not until probably September. Things are going to kick back up again. I guess this vaccine is coming out, so I'm sure by summer. I'm hoping by June that we're going to start to get to some type of normalcy see around here, which would be nice. And then I'm sure the summer will be hot and furious with teams prepping and getting ready for the season, right? So,
Okay, last quick question, sir.
Cool.
You don't have to answer this again. Is there a player that maybe you pass out on, and then now 3 years later you, I guess, maybe regret it because you went to maybe Champlain or whatever team?
No, I don't. If I passed on a player, I passed on a player for a reason. It might be because I already have that position, and I'll never recruit over a player. I don't believe in doing that. I don't believe in just taking a player and taking him and forcing another kid out like that. At this level, I don't feel like I have to do that. I don't feel that that's the way to go. And I'll tell a player straight up, listen, man, I have more than enough players in this position. It wouldn't be fair to bring you into this situation. You know, I just can't right now. And I believe in that. And I've never felt like I wish I would have taken him. No, because I feel that if the player went somewhere else and he was successful, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for that guy. I'm glad that you're successful where you are and you've had a good career there. And, I wish you the best, so I've never felt sorry that I didn't get a player or I didn't, I've never felt sorry about that. I've always felt like, if they went somewhere else, it's okay. As long as, I'd like to see the players flourish. Of course, not against my team, but I want to see them flourish. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to see a guy have a bad time somewhere. I want him to see him to do well. I want to see him go on to do bigger and better things, either with basketball or with his life. It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. There's no hate here from me. It's all good. I want to see these guys flourish. I'm lucky because I basketball bit me at a very early age, and I ran with it, and I used the game to get me my education, to help me to see the world as a player, as a coach, and it's to be still involved with the game at some level, and to see guys, to help guys to flourish and possibly go beyond what I've done. It's like I feel fortunate, and I wish the best for any guy that I come in contact with. If I can give you any tips on getting yourself better or approaching higher levels of the game, look, man, I'm there, man. Take from me. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny, game?
Okay. So we have a game, and set as a quick game before we, I guess, end the interview. My game is, you have to name me, Seth, do we say coach, player that he coached, or player that he played with?
Let's say played with. Okay,
played with. So you have to name me your top five, like your best point guard that you play with, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center that you played with.
Ooh, man. Okay, point guard. Trevor Williams.
Okay.
Is the best point guard I play with. I play with a lot of point guards. Even Steve Nash. Steve Nash, is, of course, obviously, is very good. But Trevor's my guy. Trevor Williams is probably the best point guard that I played with. Just his understanding, his athleticism, his skill on both ends of the court. Defensively, offensively, like. He's a beast. Where am I going now? Centers?
Shooting guard.
Shooting guard. Wow. You guys have put me down hard here. Shooting guard. Who I played with. I played with, Peter Balfour, who I grew up with, was a great shooter. You guys probably don't know of him for sure. Didn't go to college, didn't go to university, but he was a highly recruited 5-star MVP. Like he was a baller. Dale Blaney, who I played with at West Virginia, who was drafted by the Lakers with Magic, 6'4" shooting guard from Ohio, very good. I played with Jay Triano with the national team, who was a shooting guard, like could shoot the ball. He could shoot that ball really well. Jeez. I guess any one of those guys, you know.
Okay. And a small forward?
Small forward. You guys are killing me. Tony Sims was like a shooting guard, small forward. Played at Boston U under Rick Pitino. Very good shooting guard. All Canadian guys I'm telling you about too.
Yeah.
Very good small forward. 6'5", super athlete. Could play the point too at 6'5". Played the point at Boston University under Rick Pitino. Like I said, went to the Knicks for a time. Was a world-class triple jumper, world-class track athlete. Who I've seen him do some dunks and punch the ball in the rim with the rim over by his elbow. Like just a freaky athlete, strong, great defender. As far as small forwards, he was a beast.
Power forward?
Power forward.
Yourself?
I gotta go. Well, I would say I was a little bit ahead of my time because I was big enough to play any front court position probably, but I played every position. So, you know, I started at forward when I first got to West Virginia. I played forward, but by my senior year, I was starting in the backcourt. So, you know, I had a little bit of everything. Dwight Walton was solid as a power forward, but he was a power forward, small forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Played the power game, but he was more a small forward size. But he was a, hybrid. He was a hybrid forward, you know, power forward in a small forward's body, but played that physical rebounding, game. That's about it.
Okay, and center?
Center. I played with Greg Wiltshire, Bill Wennington had a little bit. Mike Smrek, who has a couple of rings with the Lakers. All Canadian guys. Those guys were top of the heap as far as centers go, you know.
And also, can you name your top 5 players that you coached?
Ooh.
It could be any position. Top 5. Top 5.
I know I can't because I tried to do it. I've been asked that question too many times.
Oh man!
But most recently I had Dadzi, who played for me, Bahadzi Hadera, who plays for George Mason right now, and he's I played point guard for me at 6'6".
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. He's a beast. Adrian Hines-Gary, Ryan Rosnacki, Kevin Loisel, Kyle Demaret, you know what I mean? Chris Warner, I had some guys, Brian Ofori, I had a lot of guys, man, and I'm leaving guys out, but I had so many guys who can go. Jeff DeSato, I had some players, man. Matt Thornhill. There's no way I can pick my top 5. There's no way. Don't do that to me. Don't put me in that box.
All right, so I'm gonna give you 3 scenarios. You gotta start one, bench one, and cut one. Okay, so
start one, bench one, cut one. Okay.
So 3 scenarios. Yeah. So the first one is playing for Dawson and win a national championship that year. So that's one. The second one is playing for the national team and having a chance to go to the Olympics, which is, I think, pretty huge, big, you know.
Yeah.
And then the third one is playing overseas, playing professional.
Oof.
All these countries. So you got to start one, bench one, and cut one.
Oof. I start one, probably making the Olympic team.
Okay.
Going to the Olympics. That's the start one.
Okay.
One was national championship at Dawson, and the other one was
playing overseas, all those countries.
Playing overseas.
Yeah.
Woo-wee.
Tough.
Yeah. Wow. That's a hard one. Oh boy. I let me tell you what my dilemma is. I'm going to tell you my dilemma. My dilemma is going overseas and playing.
Yeah.
That is kind of a profound experience, because playing in a bunch of different places across, like in a different part of the world, and that stays with you for a long time. Getting a national championship at Dawson is a once in a lifetime kind of thing as well. But I got one as a coach too. So I'll drop the Dawson.
Oh,
I can't believe I'm saying that. But it's because I have one as a coach as well, and having one as a coach, it's such a great experience as well. So I can cut one of those championships. So
all right, that's good. It's good. Okay, so Kenny, done?
Yeah, I'm good.
You got some good questions there, guys. You got some good questions.
Yeah, man. So listen, Wayne, I really appreciate your time on this. I think people are going to watch this and learn a lot, because there's some things that I didn't even know, and that I got caught surprised. And it's really amazing to see the career that, I haven't been, while I was playing, while you were coaching at Dawson, I just knew you as a coach,
Yeah.
And then I've heard stories of when you used to play, but I never really knew, So I'm sure a lot of people are going to watch this and learn. Learn a lot about you and what you're about as a coach, as a player. And I really appreciate your time on coming on here and discussing with us.
Hey guys, I appreciate you guys and looking me up and asking me to come onto your podcast. I'm going to be looking out for you guys on your podcast. You bring value to the city and to the province, and I appreciate the time I spent with you, and thanks for having me. Really, thank you for having me.
Merci. C'est sûr, comme Seth a dit, il y a beaucoup de personnes qui vont regarder le podcast puis qui vont apprendre. Puis même comme Seth a dit, moi aussi, il y a beaucoup d'affaires que je savais pas de toi, que j'ai appris. C'est sûr, il y a beaucoup de personnes qui vont apprendre des informations que tu nous as données. Merci encore d'avoir accepté l'invitation puis de nous avoir parlé de ton journey. Merci.
Merci.
So to everyone listening, don't forget to subscribe. Once again, I'm Seth Moa with Kenny, and stay tuned for our next episode.